Thank you for watching Australia Education Group, Education and Migration News Channel. Victorian Institute of Technology VIT is one of the most popular education provider, especially for IT courses in Australia. VIT has long history providing education to the domestic and international students. VIT have great faculties and IT experts with years of training and education. Thousands of students, mostly from subcontinent region, go to VIT for the higher and vocational courses. Within this mind, let's welcome our guest, Mr. Abdul Mamoon, General Manager Marketing from Victorian Institute of Technology, to know more about them. Thank you, Mr. Mamoon, for joining us first time in our studio.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you very much for inviting me here today.
No problem. Thank you very much. Mamoon, let's start from the beginning. How long has VIT been in the market?
Oh, VIT started our journey back in 1998 in the vocational education sector. And 2014, we started offering higher education program from here in Melbourne. And then we expanded our programs in Sydney as well.
How many campuses VIT is having in all over Australia?
We have started our campus from Victoria in Melbourne, and at the moment we have 3 locations in Melbourne, and then back in 2017 we have expanded our location in Sydney, and now we are waiting for our new campus to open in Adelaide as well as in Geelong here in Victoria.
What is the student capacity on both Melbourne and Sydney campus?
Well, we have around 2,500 students in both the campus in higher education sector, and also we have in vocational we have over 1,500 students for Victoria location.
And what are the total courses are you offering?
Well, we have in higher education sector Masters of Business Administration, we have Masters of Information Technology and Systems, and also Bachelor of IT in higher education sector. For vocational, we have in hospitality as well as Diploma of IT, which we can package with our Bachelor of IT course.
And how many students enroll at VIT every semester in both Melbourne and Sydney campus?
Well, it varies. At the moment, we see, if we look at our March intake, we have almost 300-400 in each location in a different level that we enroll. And it varies from March to July. And also we have a small intake in September where we have very sound number of students that we enroll. In November intake, we have a smaller intake, so we enroll a couple of hundreds in each location.
That's very good for the students, at least for they're coming and they're taking more interest to coming for July intake.
Yes.
Yeah. And is there anything new or any major changes have been made in VIT due to COVID-19?
Oh, that's a lot. We started supporting our current students by giving a lot of scholarships. VIT announced over $1 million to support our current students who are in a financial crisis during this pandemic. And not only that, we are raising funds for our current students to support during this pandemic those who are in extreme hardship, which means if a student cannot pay rent, or they have some issues with, or they cannot buy the groceries, or even they need some certain urgent treatment, we are helping them by raising funds. And besides, of course, allocated that over $1 million that will go towards the students' tuition fees. If they can't pay, we can reduce their tuition fee by giving them the scholarships. So that's what we are doing for our current students. And for the future students, for the upcoming intakes, we are offering a lot of scholarships so that students can get into our programs with affordable fees.
And what makes VIT very different from other higher education providers in Australia?
I would say the first thing is that the student service that what we offer, and as well as the quality of education. We make sure student gets quality education at VIT. At the same time, we are offering very, very competitive fees with other providers what they are offering at this stage. And also, what we are offering, the tuition fees is very affordable compared to other providers in Australia. That's why we feel VIT different than others. So one thing you will get is the competitive fees, at the same time a quality education. We looked at our quilt rating where indicated the VIT is better than some of the public university. So that shows that not only VIT's programs are affordable, at the same time the student will get a quality education.
One thing probably I must need to ask, that I have many students asking that VIT IT programs are not accredited by ACS.
Well, very good question. Yes, it is not as yet, but we have applied for our ACS accreditation, and that is under process, that application. But our program for IT particularly, the way we have designed in terms of the specialization in networking or application development for Bachelor of IT, for Masters of IT you have software engineering, analytics and architecture. So the way we have designed the programs by specialization, if a student apply for any designation or any skill programs that is accredited by ACS and also listed under ICT programs, I'm sure they will be able to assess the degree. It's not something ACS requires. The provider must engage or have accreditation to assess their degree. It's not mandatory. Look, we have applied for ACS accreditation. It's under process. But what we know, for a student to study in higher education sector, and it's not mandatory to have a provider to have the accreditation in place before they study. So it's not related to assess their degree, you must have that accreditation. I believe it's not mandatory. Many of our students graduated in the recent past and they have assessed their degree under different specialization through ACS. So for example, a lot of skilled migrants are coming from offshore and they assess their degree through ACS. Right? So the ACS don't go back or check whether their offshore provider ACS accreditation is there or not. So it's not mandatory, I believe, but of course we are trying to get it as soon as possible. It's under process, just to tell you that.
How about intakes? How many intakes do you offer per year?
Okay, well, for our vocational courses, we have 8 intakes in a year. For our higher education programs, we have 4 intakes in a year. So February intake. For higher education, we have 4 intakes in a year. February intake, we have July intake, September intake, as well as November intake, which is a summer intake.
Mamun, what are the percentage that the students are most satisfied while studying in VIT?
Well, a very good question. Thank you. Look, we have students in a vocational as well as higher education sector. We have an opportunity in higher education sector. Once the student graduate, they get the survey to QUILT. The QUILT is the regulatory body regulated by TEXA. They take the student survey for the journey of the organization or the institution from the day of the orientation until they graduate, and they see the overall performance of a provider, how they delivered the program, the quality of teaching, and they have like 4 or 5 parameters that what they look at. And we looked at our recent graduates, the students, actually the what we have overall marks, that actually we have seen that many of the public university are the ranking or the overall ratings are lower than VIT. So which shows that our students are satisfied studying at VIT. For vocationals, we also take feedback from the students once they finish their program, and we ask the student by completing the form. We have done the survey. Recently, we have got a survey from ESQA, and we have seen 80% of the students are participated that survey, and more than 90% students are satisfied with the students' services and overall experience at VIT, and they are happy with that.
How about the future plans of VIT, such as new campuses or new courses being added?
Well, look, Tahir, we've been looking to add more programs in the higher education sector as well as a vocational sector. At the moment, we are offering Bachelor of IT, Masters of IT, and MBA. And also we're looking to add 3 or 4 higher education program in our scope. So hopefully we'll get that very soon, and we'll be able to offer that in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, and at our Geelong campus once those gets approved. So once we get those approval, we will offer that in our Melbourne, Sydney campus, and once we get approval in Adelaide as well as in Geelong campus.
Thank you very much, Mamun, for giving us all information.
No, my pleasure.
We know that studying abroad is very common these days. However, VIT provides its students with the best education and facilities. This is why we feel confident in recommending them to students who want our help. Being Australia Education Group representative and qualified Australian Education Counsellor, we try to help students choose the universities and colleges courses that are best suited for them. If you want to get an admission in diploma courses, Bachelor of Information Technology, Masters of Information Technology and Masters of Business Administration, please contact to our Melbourne and Perth office numbers. Please like, subscribe and share our channel by clicking on bell icon so that you would keep getting notifications for our each new video coming every week.